Welcome back to the Athletes Podcast. This is episode 74 featuring Anthony Mendez, a fitness coach now turned business coach who has decades of experience in the industry, multiple diplomas. He shares some incredible insights around how he's built his brand on social media, what he did prior to becoming a social media influencer to get to that point, and just a ton of information in this episode. It was a great conversation. You can find him on Instagram at Mendez Fitness. And get ready. Here we go. This is the Athletes Podcast, the show that aims to entertain and educate all athletes, veterans, rookies, role players, whoever wants to learn. We're here to educate. Get ready for episode 74. Here we go. Look at that.
Woo!
We are firing.
We are.
Episode 74 of the Athletes Podcast, man. Anthony, how you doing today, brother?
Good, man. How about you?
Gee, I am fired up to have you on. I'm excited. I love your energy. This is like exciting times for the Athletes Podcast, and just fired up to get going. Excited for you to share your journey, who you are as a human, and more specifically what you do as far as in the athletic exercise realm. Would love to have you kind of dive in, get a brief bio as to who you are, what you do, and I'll pick some questions and really dive into the nitty gritty.
Hell yeah, brother. No, I appreciate first of you having me on here and just be able to use your platform to educate and drop value. And to me, that's definitely always an honor. So thank you guys. Really appreciate that.
100%.
As far as for me, man, as far as, what I represent. So as of right now, I'm a health and fitness business coach, and I'm also a PUMA athlete and trainer. And I've been in the industry for 11 plus years. My goal as of right now is I've been focusing on helping the online fitness coaches to be able to scale their businesses through 6 to 7 figures using social media. So been really focusing, especially during time like this where it's been needed to get these coaches off the ground, whether they're starting brand new or they're just stuck and trying to figure it out, but just optimizing their businesses online and how to be able to use that social media presence to be able to get them in front of the right people and then ultimately serve those people at the highest level by providing them the solutions to those problems. So that's been my main focus. But my background, I come from the personal training world, started at 17. I'm 28 now, and I've been in the industry for a while. So it's definitely a passion of mine, and it's definitely something I'm going to keep capitalizing on in different trajectories.
100%. And that's what I love is the fact that you're not just focusing on the fitness. You're also now, I think it was a couple months prior to COVID, you had transitioned over to the business point. And what really attracted me to you was specifically there's one point on your website that I'll get Jordan to bring up here that's got a quote that I really want to read out because I think it really resonates with me, and that's why I love your energy. It says, I approach my clients looking at their whole lifestyle, not just the aspect of training. I'd like to coach them in becoming better people overall through mindset, behavioral change, creating new habits, accountability, a stress-free environment, and giving them the tools to use that can better them throughout the day. And to me, that is amazing because, there are a ton of coaches that can get you out there and get you into good shape. That's not hard. They can tell you to reduce the amount of calories, increase the amount of training, and you know what, you're going to see results. But there aren't necessarily those same people that can provide the knowledge that is necessary for a long-term sustainable lifestyle that's going to have them at the age of 30, 40, 50, 60 as they age, still maintaining their fitness, their workload, their ability to live that lifestyle that's so important. How did you come up with this philosophy and where does it stem from?
Yeah, so off the bat, man, I would say it really stemmed from when I got to my higher level of education and coaching, which was I started with Bali Total Fitness, moved up through LA Fitness, and then I moved to New York, studied there through Equinox Academy, came back to Miami and worked with Equinox. And really through Equinox was a starting point where I was learning and understanding the actual importance of what it meant to be healthy, what it meant to be a good mover, what it meant to be somebody who's always operating, at a high level by doing other different things, not just the fitness aspect. So I really learned a lot about behavioral change. I really learned about, how to be able to develop the mindset, how to develop your body properly, not just by going hard all the time, or not just by lifting weights all the time, or putting yourself under tremendous load continuously, where it would just tarnish your joints over time. So I just learned a smarter way to approach your everyday living. And then from there, I expanded my interests, and I went to specialists, and I got the help from other coaches, and I got into certain certifications that just expanded um, my learnings, and what I wanted to learn more about. And honestly, what I've come to realize is that at the end of the day, as much as philosophies, methods that there are out there, my belief is you need to have, an implementation of these different pieces that cycle on a consistent basis. And you're always going to get some people that tend to fall a little bit more than the other and specialize in, which is fine, and you want that. But you got to keep as people, you got to understand that, if you're not sleeping, you're not improving. If you're not eating well, you're not improving. If your mindset is not improving, you're not going to win. And then, of course, your physical capabilities as well. And then also what you do for your internal soul, like taking care of you as a person and being happy and doing the things you love to do and having fun. So you have to understand that it's that whole model that creates success in an individual's life. Many times as trainers and coaches, we focus only so much on the fitness aspect and even the nutrition aspect, and you forget about the human aspect, right? And you have to remember that the human aspect is what makes that person a human, and also makes them enjoy life. So if they're not doing things that makes them enjoy life at the human level, at the personal level, then it's going to trickle into other problems and stress and anxiety, which then holds them back from achieving their goals with their physical goals and their mental goals. And then that's where you see the problems and the disconnect of, hey, the weight loss is not happening, the muscle gain is not happening, hey, your performance went down, or your performance isn't as high. So you have to look at everything as a whole, as a person going into their lifestyle, because at the end of the day, it is a lifestyle. It's not just a one component piece that you have to approach it. So that's how I like to approach it. It's how can we look at your life, and where are the holes that we need to fix first? Maybe it isn't, maybe it isn't the physical aspect. Maybe you are doing well in this physical aspect, but you know what? Maybe you're burning yourself out over here, and maybe you're doing way too much, and we need to fix it. Or maybe you're not paying attention to this other area of life, which could be sleep, or maybe it's just self-care, which is maybe you're not giving yourself a break. Maybe you're not taking yourself out to do something you like to do, and maybe you just need to get your mind off of things to recenter you and align you back into what's most important in your life. So when you can look at that as a coach, we have to see as coaches, it's beyond the fitness. It's looking at the whole totality of what is this person going through every single day, and that's what you want to be able to start with.
Yeah, I think that you touch on mind, body, and soul as those big three, and I think those go in hand with the big rocks of making sure your sleep is on point, making sure your nutrition is good, making sure what you're doing from a physical standpoint, from your mindset, is important. And for me, that's been a game changer. I started the Athletes Podcast a year and 8-9 months ago, and one of the things that I've learned, I fell to what I shouldn't have done. And I was like super into just, I got to make sure that I get lean and get ripped, because that's what athletes, and that's what it takes to be athletic. I'm like, man, I fell victim to it, because it's like, I've had kind of over the past couple months having conversations like this, that I've learned that there's so much more to the human body and performance, and being an ultimately high performing individual, than just looking good from a physical standpoint.
And also too, man, to your point, like, look, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look lean, or wanting to look this, or wanting to look a certain way. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with it, but at the same time, you got to understand there are the other components in there to keep you as a healthy individual all around. If you're jeopardizing that, then you know what? It isn't healthy to always say, I got to be the leanest, most ripped person in the world, depending on your goal. If your goal is to compete, then that's a different story. But if your goal is not to do that, and that's what you think you have to look like or appear like, because social media or magazines or media shows that that's what a man or a female should look like, which that's not exactly right. So you got to remember that most of the times, a lot of that is photoshopped. A lot of that are people at their peak state, which you can't sustain that peak state for so long, because it's not good for you in the first place, and it's not easy, and you will feel extremely stressful. So understanding that that's not an optimal body to be in 24/7 every single day. And that's where the confusion happens, is that that's what's only being shown out there. So people eat it, feed it, and they think that that's what they have to live by or achieve every single day when they're trying to get, to the lean point, instead of being, what, naturally, this is how I am, my leanness, and I feel great about it and accept it, and love it. Love that your body looks great like this.
Yeah, and loving your body is important, right? And treating it the same way. It's interesting. You brought up social media, magazines. I wanted to congratulate you for your feature in Entrepreneur. That's
Oh, thank you,
legit. It's
brother.
incredible. That's something you've kind of gained a ton of momentum. I know in doing my research, you talked about how in 2014, 13, 14, 15, you hit Instagram hard, really trying to work at, building your brand and having a presence on there. How do you kind of, what would be your recommendation for young athletes going through how to build that personal brand, whether it's from an athletic standpoint, whether it's from a business standpoint? I'd love for you to dive in onto how you built that, as well as, what athletes should be cognizant of when they go through that process, because social media can be so difficult from a mental standpoint.
100%. So look, it's really interesting because I think in athletics right now, if you're talking about the young level, if we're talking about like let's say college level, you're seeing athletes now where you can even get paid now. Before you couldn't
Mm,
get paid as a college athlete, right? So now they changed the rules, and now you can get compensated. So I think with social media, that's changing the game because you're seeing a lot of companies now, they're starting to wanting to collab and do work with some of these college names who are hot right now in college and use those names to be able to make money. And these guys are making money. So it's good and it's bad as long as you don't let it get to your head and take away from your game. I think that's the most important thing. But when it comes to branding, I do believe in personal branding is huge when you are an athlete, especially if you're going pro. I think that now more than ever, athletes are realizing like, heck, my body is not meant to go through this vigorous punishment over and over and over again for this many years, like back in the day where there was no choice. You were an athlete, that's what you knew, that was your escape out of being at the low of the low, out of getting your family out of problems, out of getting your guys self out of money issues. You knew the athleticism was your way out, so it was your only option. But now there's options. Now you can
mhm.
use your athleticism to get you into the pro leagues, but not only that, you can capitalize on your personal brand because now your name is hot, so you can leverage that to grow your personal brand. And I think that all athletes need to consider when they go pro is start thinking about how to build your personal brand and leverage your star power at that moment to build your personal brand, because that will last forever. But unfortunately, you playing the sport is not. You know,
Mm.
and many of these guys, you're seeing them retiring early. Why? Because they're realizing that it's not worth the taxation of their body, and there's other options. So you're looking at guys like becoming gamers. Look at all these football players becoming gamers too, and some basketball players. So you're seeing other options that these guys are taking and building their personal brand. So align yourself too, I think, with a company or somebody who knows how to be able to put you out there as a personal brand properly as well, because you are an
Mhm.
athlete. You shouldn't have to focus as well on building your personal brand on your own, because you have to focus on your sport. But find the right people in place that can help blow up your personal brand, align you with the right companies, not just any company, with the companies that make sense for you, that you believe in, that are tied in with your belief systems, what you're all about, what you want to put out into the world. And then from there, build up that name. And who knows, that personal brand might even be bigger than even your pro brand, your pro name.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's an amazing point you bring up. And you also bring up, aligning yourself with brands. So many people now are trying to get that quick one hit, align with a brand. You get a bunch of swag, you get to say whatever, blah, 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 and then that's it. And, we're going through that right now. I mean, we're still so young in the process, but that's one of the standpoints that I have in a pillar. I'm making sure that, when I have companies reaching out, or if I want to work with someone, I want to make sure that this is a partnership that's mutually beneficial, that's going to last, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the
100%.
road. Right. And I think you've kind of got that with PUMA and Onnit. I'd love for you to dive into kind of how you obtained those partnerships and what you do now, because I think it's important for young athletes. This is what we try and do, is educate the next generation of athletes on the Athletes podcast. But I'd love for you to maybe dive in onto what that process looks like, how
100%.
you work with these brands and make sure that they stay happy, they're happy with what you're doing.
Yeah, no, most definitely. So I would say, obviously Puma being the one that I've really like driven for the most and worked with them for a little bit over 4 years now.
Hmm.
It's one of those things where I love the brand so much because, first of all, they don't tie you into only thinking or feeling that you can only represent Puma. And I like that, meaning that if you are wearing something else, or if it's mixed in with the brand, or like if you're just hanging around and you're in something in a different attire and it's on your post, or I'm wearing this shirt and it's not Puma brand, this shirt's not anything branded. It's not a problem, because at the end of the day, we're all human, right? We're all human. But most of the time I am wearing Puma. Why? Because I do love the brand, and because of the way they treat me and the way that they provide help for me and support, and whatever I need, they give it to me, and I'm telling you right now that they have been such one of the most best brands I've worked with. And literally when I tell you they'll give me anything, they'll give me the support. If I tell them, hey, I need support for this event or I need support for this, they will be there and do that. And that's what I love about them. And they work with their trainers or athletes very, very well, hand in hand. Every year they'll do at least 2 or 3 consultations with you where they'll say, hey, what are things that you think we can improve on? They've even had us come up and help them with part of their clothing line and give them suggestions of like, hey, colors, styles, all that stuff. So they really involve us to feel like we're part of the developmental nuances of the clothing, the events, their experiences. To me, that's amazing. I think when you find a company that wants to involve you like that, I think that's super important. So, with Puma being said, as you can see on my page, I love wearing Puma because I'm a huge believer in it, So I think when you can believe in something, makes you want to wear it even naturally without even thinking about it, right? And they're a company that really, they don't push down your throat to have to forcefully post a certain amount of posts, but they're more of like, hey, we want to support you. And because we support you, we know you're going to support us and we believe in you. And I think that that's amazing, and that's why naturally I have Puma all the time. I'm always in my videos. I'm always in my posts, and I don't even know I am anymore because I wear it so much. Every time you're in the street, I'm wearing Puma. Why? Because I love the brand and because I feel so good in it. And I think when brands can do it like that the right way, I think it really shows a level of commitment to you and as the athlete and the trainer, and it really resonates with them because it makes you feel like, I'm not tied down to something strictly, but I'm always here going to support it 100% because of the way that they treat me. And I think that when a brand or when a person treats somebody with the love, with the support, you would go arms open and do anything for them.
Yeah, damn right. I bring it up partially because I had a buddy who used to work for Puma, and I wore a bunch of it growing up playing golf, so I slight bias there. But it was a nice also way to incorporate Fabletics, what I'm wearing today. They sent us some gear, and I love it right now. It's a good place for an ad, but also I think it's important for people to realize what else is out there for athletes. And what you talked about, personal brand, there are so many different avenues for people to make money, to expand who they are as an individual, to adapt. I mean, I look at you right now and, we've been chatting for a couple weeks now, but you are kind of a mixed martial artist in the sense that you work for business, you've got your fitness, your coaching, like you have all of the above. You do everything. You're the mixed martial artist in the sense that you're combining all of your skills into one big pot and doing an incredible job doing it. So I'd love for you to maybe dive into, from a training perspective, because you have a plethora of certifications, you like doing loaded work, you like doing unloaded movement training, untraditional styles. What is your ideal movement method? And I know it's probably going to vary person to person on who you're working with, but typically when you try and work with athletes or when you're working with individuals, what's your training, the modality that you resonate with the most or you apply with your students? You ever spilled your drink on your pants? Watch this. Check out this training day tee from Fabletics Men. Unbelievable comfort, anti-stink technology, mesh sidings for increased ventilation, and anti-chafing technology. Incredible product. I'm wearing this shirt all the time. It's my favorite. Head over to fabletics.com/TheAP for all their products and some exciting discounts.
So I would say, obviously when I was training heavily with clientels, athletes, even general pop, my first thing was always, I like to attack with a body weight component. I'm a huge believer in mastering your body before mastering anything else. So, you got to be able to own those positions. Because if you can't own your own body, what makes you think you're going to own some extra kind of load coming in? So I was a huge
100%.
believer in own your body first, and then from there we're going to explore. And when I explore with tools, like I love kettlebells, I love vipers, I love maces, sandbags, all these unconventional tools, because first of all, they're easy to store away, they're easy to carry around.
Hmm.
You don't need all this machinery, so that's a huge perk right there. And then obviously number two, into the actual benefits of it. When you work with a lot of these tools, like for example, the kettlebell, and let's say you're doing single side, an offset right there, right? You got load on one side and you got no load on the other, so you really get to fight what's going on in your body, and that really creates a lot of strength and awareness and feedback, because you're only loading one side. Well, your body's going to tell you, holy shit, I got to work on this and this and this, because this is firing, this is going, I'm weak here, I'm strong here. A lot of information, right? Same thing with body weight. When you're doing body weight, there's always going to be one side that might be a little weaker than the other, especially when you're on the floor with your hands and feet. There's a lot of feedback, right? The floor gives you a lot of feedback. There's energy growing through the floor. And when I say feedback is king, so the more feedback, the better. And that allows you to understand your body better. It allows you to understand your weaknesses, your strengths, your dysfunctions, your asymmetries. And I think that's huge when you can realize that, even for coaches, or for the person themselves, when they can go through that and realize, oh man, like you're right, like I am shifting more this way. Why is that? Or I'm weaker on this side. Why is that? Or I don't understand, why is it that I can feel this here and I can't feel it when I do on the other side? And that starts letting you know and create that awareness to letting that person know, man, we got to work on these things. So when you can start working on these things, again, you got those tools like I was mentioning, and now you can strengthen, using these different tools and variations, like the kettlebell, like the viper, like the sandbag and the maces. And it allows you for exploration, right? So for me, exploration in the fitness realm is key. I think you should explore different angles, different movements, different directions. You should be able to attack these different directions with different loads, because it makes you stronger in them, right? Where bodies are meant to move in space, our bodies are not meant to be confined in one fixed area alone. And this doesn't take away from traditional style training where you're fixated just in one plane of movement. But here you're exploring, right? You're exploring, you're getting strong in these different positions. And for athletes especially, when do you see an athlete confined in one spot
Hmm.
playing the game? They're not, right? An athlete's constantly moving. An athlete's jumping in different positions. They're going to land awkwardly. They're going to step awkwardly. They're going to move over here. They're going to move over there. They're going to go back, forward, shift, right, turn, catch, push somebody. So there's different forces going on. Why wouldn't you want to train that athlete in those forces using these different tools and modalities? And to me, that's how I look at it. And then when you go into the general pop, it's the same thing. Somebody picks up, where do most general population people get hurt? Picking things off the floor, putting them away, bending over, maybe stepping back, turning. Oh, there it goes. So train them in those different positions with these different tools. Put them in those positions that mimic everyday life movement, and you'll see that they're going to get stronger. And when somebody does step incorrectly, their body knows how to naturally react to that, because you've been training these movements, and your fibers get so strong that it reacts instantly to what was going on. So this is why I love that style of training.
And this is why I wanted to have you on to the Athletes podcast, because you were able to, man, explain exactly, I think, what is so necessary for a lot of athletes to recognize nowadays. And you know what? And like you said, this doesn't take away from stereotypical resistance training, barbell work, because there is a place for that. I think
Oh,
you can get
100%.
incredibly strong. You can gain a ton of muscle. But when you are an athlete, you don't necessarily need an additional 10, 15, 20% of muscle onto the frame that you already have. You need to be able to move effectively. You need to be able to be agile. You need to be able to move your body where it needs to go in a bunch of different fashions, right? Whether that's loaded or unloaded. So I'm glad you knocked the answer out of that one. I was awesome. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Let's kind of dive into. I always ask guests what their biggest misconception was. Typically, we're featuring professional athletes who go from minor leagues and then play in the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, MLB, etc. You have a different route to becoming a superstar or a celebrity because you're on social media. and that's how your avenue to success. What was the biggest turning point or misconception that you had as you were going through this, maybe from 2010 to 2013, when you were trying to just establish your brand, and now in 2021 having over 250,000 people? What was that biggest misconception that you had?
So I'll say the number one thing that I realized through my journey was, as online expanded, as social media expanded, it made me realize that you did not have to be one thing. And
Mm,
I think there was a huge misconception where everybody thought that you can only do your one job and that was it. If you're a trainer, you're a trainer. If you're this, you're this. If you're that, you're that. And I will tell you that that's just complete bullshit. And I think that now more than ever, it allows you to hone in on what you started, and it spreads the web out to unleash these different skill sets, even if it might be still within the same realm, but you get to realize like there's more for you out there. You don't have to be the plumber anymore. Shoot, I didn't even know if, I think there's even a plumber on YouTube who became a huge influencer, and the guy's like tons and tons of millions of subscribers, and the guy's a plumber, and now the
yeah.
guy's an influencer crushing it. So goes to show you that even being a plumber, you can still expand because of the capabilities of online and social media. So that's a huge misconception where people tell you, hey, you're that and that's it. That's bullcrap. You can be so many different things if you really want to, if you really believe in it and you really have a passion for it. You just got to go get it. You got to go get it, and you
Hmm.
got to go chase it. And for me, I believe when I started believing it was when I started seeing the different opportunities come in, the
Mm,
different avenues, and like different companies work with me. And I'm like, man, this company wants to work with me, but what, like, why? Like I'm a personal trainer. I don't know if do they want to work with me? And yes, they did. Why? Because they believed in what my beliefs were. They believed in my lifestyle. They believed in my values. They believed in my personal brand. And that's
mm.
why I think when you build your personal brand doesn't only have to just be for example, me being a personal trainer, my personal brand, if I'm showing it, people might see me, hey, I love collecting sports cards, or I like to do this, or I'm also a huge, maybe I'm a wine collector and I like collecting wine, and I'm going to show that through my profile mixed in with my other stuff. So companies want to align with that. And I think that people need to take that out of their head, that if you're just a fitness coach, or if you're just a this, or if you're just a that, that you're only stuck doing that. So guys, biggest piece of advice is don't get honed in on one thing. You have the capabilities to be many.
Are you a fan of Gary Vaynerchuk?
I am.
Yeah. Okay. So he spreads a similar message in the sense that, and more recently, he's been diving into that about, he's not just a tech guy. He's not just an investor. He likes wine. Like you said, he likes sports cards. He likes other different avenues. He likes doodling. He's a guy who I like admire in his ability to do so many things. And he stresses, if you do 100 things, you don't need one thing to do really well, because you can have 80 do well and 20 can suck, and you still have 80 good projects on the go. Whereas the one person who says, oh, I'm going to do this and this, and that fails because they put all their eggs in one basket. And I think that's the point you're trying to make.
Yeah, 100%. And look, for me, like, obviously my biggest thing is business coaching. So I promote myself as a business coach, but another thing that I'm working on now that my content creator is coming back, and if you look some of my posts, like, I want to
Hmm.
show other stuff. I want to show that I am into card collecting, and I'm a huge card collector, by the way. So I love card collecting,
Nice.
sports memorabilia and all that. And it's important to show all that and show other things that you like, because it'll connect with somebody and bring you business for that one thing that you do specialize in. So for me as a fitness business coach, there might be another personal trainer out there who says, man, I'm a sports collector too. Holy shit. And that's what we connect with. We start talking about sports trading cards. Next, you know it, we're talking about business, how he needs help with his personal training online. Done. I can help you. So people don't understand that you can use your lifestyles, the things you like, to also connect with people, to bring them into the thing that you do specialize in, or the offers that you have, and serve them. Because at the end of the day, everybody's human, right? So if you go, I'll give you an example. If you go to and this could even be somebody like, when you go to a bar, right? So you're going to a bar, you're with friends. Let's say you walk in, you sit down, there's a random guy walks in. Some people are like, man, I don't get good. I don't know. I don't like that guy, right? I don't like that.
Hmm.
You never met him, and like, I'm assuming I don't like that guy. I don't know. You just don't like him. Next thing you know it, you guys go to the bar, you walk over to the bar, you guys start talking. Next thing you know, that guy takes off his shirt or his sweater. He has a shirt and it says UM Syracuse or something from your college. football, whatever class. Next you know it, you went to that school and you're the guy saying, oh, I don't know if I like this guy. Next you know it, you're talking with the guy. Why? Because the guy had something that brought what? An emotional memory back, created a connection right there between you guys. And now you guys are talking about, I noticed you graduated this year, played football over here. Dude, I graduated that year too. I was on the lacrosse. Holy crap. Did you know so and so and so? Next you know, you guys are building rapport off of something you didn't even know. Next you know it, you have an offer that the guy might need, not even knowing it, and he ends up purchasing whatever you have later down the road. Why? Because of that connection in the first place. So for people who have their businesses and they're only holding in on pushing out content that has only to do with their business, like, don't be scared to mix it up. Don't be scared to show your personal side, because that will create the connections for you, which will later in bring in more business, and people are going to actually want to work with you, especially for coaches. I said this on my last interview. Most people coming in when you're a coach, like a personal trainer, people already know you're a personal trainer, right? It says it on your name, maybe even under the business tag, it'll say coach. Maybe even your username says fitness or coach or trainer, whatever it is on it. So everywhere spits personal trainer, coach. And then your whole page is workouts, right? Your whole page is workouts. But guess here's the problem. The problem is that person is going to say, I know they're a coach, but I don't know anything else about them. And then they find another coach who also is a coach, might be doing very similar things, but guess what? That coach shows pictures of their family. That coach shows pictures of them or videos of them doing other stuff. Maybe other things that they like to do, like play basketball on the weekends. Maybe they're into reading, and they have show stuff of them reading mixed with their workouts and all that stuff. And now that client says, man, I really resonate with that guy. I'm a family person. I'm all about family. And I want a coach who believes in family. He's a family guy. That's a family girl. They post a lot about their family, talk about family. That does it for me. And they love to read. I love to read too. Instant connection. And that's why they're going to want to work with you, because of that reason. Not just because you're a coach, but because they found something that they were able to relate with.
I could not agree more. I think that's such important information. I hope people are listening, taking down notes. This is amazing for me. I'm always in awe in these conversations. I love being able to have them on a weekly basis. I appreciate it. I'd love for you to dive in on confidence and kind of maybe to elaborate on that would be that turning point for you when you maybe were as an athlete, because I know growing up you were always an athlete, competing in high school, whatever, but where was that turning point or that moment where everything clicked and you decided, you know what, I'm going for this. I see the future in social media. I like being a coach. I like training people. When was that pivotal moment for you?
Yeah. So I would say my first burst of confidence was when I was able to get up out of LA Fitness and get over to Equinox and learn from there. So my first thing was I said I knew I was meant for more and I could become a better coach. And slowly my I would say one of my managers at LA Fitness did a great job when it was talking about hard work and confidence. He instilled a lot of confidence in me to go out there and pursue my personal training career. But really, with the pivotal side of things, for what I'm doing today, the confidence came out from when I realized when I started working with my buddy at Equinox, and he's like, "Hey, dude, we got to do this social media thing." He's like, "I'm gonna film you, you film me," and through that experience of just me going out there, filming this content, editing my own content, seeing it on there, seeing it grow, seeing it flourish, build a lot of confidence in me to say, you know what, I'm more than capable of just being a trainer. And also, it also instilled in me a lot of belief, right? So confidence with belief made me a huge believer, made me believe that I can do way more than what I was meant to do, not just be a trainer my whole life, and not saying that that's wrong. I loved it, but I always knew I was meant for more. I knew my life wasn't just going to be a trainer. So between that's where my confidence started building up. And that's why I was able to make that choice and leave Equinox when I had the ultimatum of when they made me choose between staying at Equinox and leaving Equinox because of my social media. And because of that confidence, I made that decision. I said, you know what? If there's a reason why they're telling me that I have to pick and choose. And it's not because, I'll tell you, my numbers were really well. I was performing very high. I would understand if I wasn't performing. I was performing well in my job. And I wasn't even putting any videos on my clients. So it's not like I was taking people. It was all me. So that told me something. That told me that they're scared of something. And when somebody shows that or says that, tells you that you got something special. And that really instilled, believe it or not, that convo instilled even more confidence in me, because it made me realize, well, I got something going on here and I got to go take that leap of faith. And even though it was hard, I did it. And I'll tell you, till that day, taking that leap of faith, but gave me a huge boost of confidence to just continue to work hard, because it literally just through the time frame of continuous growth and all that, working with PUMA, with Onnit, with all these different companies, you get to see that it's possible, you know. And when things when things that you didn't see before, now you can start seeing become possible, confidence starts building up, right? Confidence starts building up. And then lastly, one thing before, you know, even that ties in with confidence, I'll tell people all the time, and I think there's a huge misconception on this, is people think that having ego is always a bad thing. I'll tell you right now that that is incorrect, because having healthy ego is very, very important. And you need to understand the difference between bad ego or unhealthy ego and healthy ego, because healthy ego is what's going to help instill confidence, and it's going to help you get yourself out of situations. It's going to help you put yourself in new situations. It's going to help you build momentum, take action, believe in yourself, hold your ground, and do the shit that you know you're here to do. And that's why I tell people all the time, don't look at ego as a bad thing. Just look and ask yourself, what kind of ego am I stemming from? Is it the healthy ego or is it the unhealthy ego? Now, if you're walking around being arrogant, doing all this stupidity, and walking with this inflation in your head, then you might be doing the unhealthy ego, and you got to check yourself, because that will crush you immediately. But understand, guys, that healthy ego will take you to many beautiful directions. I'll tell you right now that we all have to have some sense of healthy ego, because healthy ego does create leadership too. You know, as a leader, you need to have some sense of healthy ego. And you know what, believe it or not, the people following you want that, because they're putting their trust in you. And if they can see that, man, my leader, he holds himself high. He's at the same time, you're vulnerable and humble, but you hold yourself high in the toughest positions. You can get your team out of certain positions. You can put yourself in new positions. They believe in you. And now that boosts their confidence and boosts their healthy ego, right? So I think people need to also remember that with the healthy ego, with the confidence, leads to success. And when you can start believing that ego is also healthy, you will start winning on a much harder and further level.
I know we have a hard stop at 4 here, but I loved that topic. I want to just ask one more kind of side note to that, in the sense that you've got, when you're going in an entrepreneurial mindset and you having to deal with, it's all on you now. You don't have someone paying your salary. It's you, yourself, and you're the only person you can turn to. That can be difficult. And that can be extremely stressful, you know, you name it. How do you manage? Because I don't want to portray that, you know, entrepreneurship, doing this is easy and that it's all, you know, daisies and butterflies. So maybe if you could share like one difficult point or a situation that you had to get out of, and maybe how you were able to do that. And does that stem from the mindset again?
I'll tell you, one of the most biggest, I think, problems, and this is even myself starting, I've gotten a lot better at it. I think one of the biggest things that entrepreneurs have, because entrepreneurs usually start on their own, right? They're independent. They do things on their own. They got to a certain point on their own. So it's hard to ask for help. And I think one of the biggest things you can learn early on as an entrepreneur is don't be afraid to ask for help. If you need the help, go ask for it. If you need advice, go get it. If you need a coach, go get it. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Mentors have mentors, coaches have coaches. The best of the best have the best of the best with them. And you need to be able to ask for help constantly, especially if you see yourself repeating something over and over or stuck in a position. Guys, when you operate a business, one of the biggest things that I strive for is to look out is who are going to be the people that are way better than me at doing these other things that I'm not doing in my business. I want people that are better than me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the best. I want people that are better than me in all these other positions. What I'm going to be the best at is making sure that I can show up every day and lead my team to success. And that's what I want to be able to do. But I want to have the best of the best around me who are better than me at doing those things, because that's where I can get the help. You know, so
and you never want to be the smartest person in the room.
You want to be the smartest person in the room. That's exactly right. So I'll tell you right now, man, when you can look at it like that, it's a huge game changer. And then on the flip side of things, you know, just to not actually in the flip side, but adjacent to that, I would say one of the biggest things is, as an entrepreneur, if you're falling under a lot of stress, if you're falling under a lot of issues, if you're falling under a lot of roller coaster rides in your life, which I've had them. I recently had one, going through my breakup and co-parenting. One of the biggest things you need to understand is you have to go and realize that there's 4 important pillars in your life. And your 4 important pillars are health, self-care, family, and business. And what I mean by that is that's going to be your tabletop that's going to hold you as a person in all areas of success in life. So number 1, health. Move your body, move your mind, move your soul, right? Constantly move it, nourish it, grow it. And then nutrition as well. Make sure your nutrition is intact. Make sure your sleep is intact. Make sure you're doing all those things you need to do with your health. So health, number 1. Number 2, self-care. You got to date yourself. If you're not dating yourself, you're losing. All right. What does this mean? You got to go take yourself out and go do something you love. For example, I enjoy sometimes going to this little spot for me to go eat at, and I take myself by myself because it's my date on my own. You need that, right? You need that. You need to have your own date for you where you're not with anybody else, just to clear your mind out and enjoy something you really love. Maybe for you is go and play basketball or football, or maybe it's something else. I don't know, but find out what it is or that hobby and just do it by yourself, and do it at least once or twice a week. It's going to help you tremendously. Then number 3 is your family, whether you have kids or significant other, or if it's just your parents, or maybe your friends as well, counts as your family. Spend time with them. Find a day to spend time with them. Block out that time. And it can also be as simply like send a message, every other day, or send a message to your mom. Say, hey, I love you. I just want to let you know that, thank you for everything. Hey, Dad, by the way, just thinking about you. Just want to say I love you. Hey, to our friend I haven't spoken to in a while. Hey, just want to let you know that I'm thinking about you. Keep up the awesome work. It doesn't go unnoticed. These little things, guys, really create micro wins and really help with your mindset. And then lastly, you got business as number 4, because when business is number 4, the reason why I put business as number 4 is because if you're not operating at the high 3, you're not going to be able to feed the last one, which is your business. So instead of working it around backwards, business first, and then the other ones, think about your health first, your self-love, your self-love, self-care, and then your family, and then your business. Because when you have these 3 operating at a high level, there's no reason why your business shouldn't be intact. Your mind is going to be great. Your mood is going to be great. Your body's going to be great. Your energy is going to be great. And nobody can take you out in your business. Well, then from there, you're going to have the exact mindset you need to approach it every day, the exact energy you need to approach it every day. You're going to be a leader for your team. You're in a good headspace. There's not very much negativity going on, and you can tackle issues at a much higher level when they present themselves.
I love that. I could talk to you all day about this. Something I feel very passionate about, and you do an extremely good job articulating your thoughts and ideas. The way we wrap up every episode on the Athletes Podcast is we ask our guest what their single piece of biggest advice would be to the next generation of athletes. Anthony Mendez, I would love for you to dive in and give your biggest piece of advice.
My biggest piece of advice, one of my favorite things to tell people all the time is, if the world doesn't stop for you, why are you going to stop for the world? You need to keep on moving every single day.
Damn. There we go. Mic drop. This has been episode 74 of the Athletes Podcast. Anthony, I sincerely appreciate you coming on, bro. I look forward to being able to chop it up with you in the future. We will definitely have to get a workout in once this COVID is over, and we'll stay in touch, man. I appreciate it.
Let's do it, brother. Get your ass down to Miami. Let's make it happen.
Thank you guys for tuning into the 74th episode of the Athletes Podcast featuring Anthony Mendez. You can find him on Instagram at Mendez Fitness. Sincerely appreciate you guys watching the full video. If you did, hit that subscribe, like button down there. I appreciate it. Really hope you guys enjoyed. If you have specific athletes you would like featured on the show, feel free to comment them down below. Would love to hear if you guys want specific individuals interviewed. We just love having these conversations. My name is David Stark. I'm your host. Jordan Maslin is our producer. Ian Singleton is our videographer. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.